Hello, everyone. Welcome to IBE classes. We are going to discuss questions pertaining to internal security today, GS paper 3. And I will be talking about the first test of GS paper 3 that was conducted. Now, if we talk about the question that were asked, now the question that has been asked there was uh, question number 7. Social media has emerged as a potent threat to internal security. Comment. Now, when we talk about social media, obviously social media is the platform of joining together the people, the people together for the sake of entertainment, for infotainment, plus for communication or reaching out to everyone. Obviously, social media has become very important because it is a connecting force, plus it is the voice of the voiceless, and a lot of positive aspects are attached with social media. But given the present day circumstances, now, due to its popularity, it is also emerging as one of the greatest threat for internal security. Now, when we talk about the threat to internal security, how it is becoming a internal security threat. Now, this was the question that was asked from you. Now, type like the introduction that I gave, you can start the introduction like this, and then can proceed further. And when you proceed further, now you will start the answer like the first threat that social media has come is basically in terms of it is proving to be a ground of spreading yellow journalism or fake news as such, right? So now there is a difference between yellow journalism and fake news. That's why or nahi and should be used. So it is a platform, it is being used as a platform for spreading fake news and yellow journalism. Now, fake news is what it is not correct and it is spreading in the media. Now, people tend to overreact over this. Now, yellow journalism is basically now the small things are, hyperbold, yani ki they are, they are talked a lot about, bragged a lot about what it is just a minuscule thing, right? Now, this leads to a lot of problems, right? Now, for example, a simple incident occurred the between India and Pakistan army, right? And the firing started between the two on the border. Now, in social media, the news spread. Now, India is at war with Pakistan. A full-fledged war is going on. Now, such is going to create a lot of internal security threat, right? Because it could disarray the economy, it could disarray the administration. A lot many problems could be caused. So, the first one is basically you will talk about the fake news, use of social media as fake news, and the second thing is yellow journalism. Now, second aspect is it is it promotes homo intelligence, right? Homo intelligence and homophilic nature is promoted. Now, how homophilic nature is promoted, which is which you know has a great impact on our psychology. Homophilic means liking the same thing. We love the same type of thing. So if I am supporting certain thing and the other person also support the same, so I will obviously love that person. Now this is homophilic I'm talking about. Now in this homophilic approach is being developed in social media, right? Which completely, leads to binding your thought. You don't have possess the open mindedness, right? So you can't have out of the box thinking. So this will not only influence your intellectual development, but also the development of the nation as well as the economy as such. Now, this is the homophilic approach you will talk about in the next point. In the third point, you will talk about that obviously by certain political parties, it is for used for highlighting their political agendas, and agenda based news are being circulated in social medias, right? Even our persons like our father of a nation image is tarnished on social media, on the those ignorant people who don't know the ABCD about Mahatma Gandhi or anything like that, right? So this is done out there, right? So you could also write about this tarnishing the image of someone, right? Now another aspect that you are going to write is it also acts as, now it is used as a deep fake and others, where the women are basically, women images are tarnished in the society, right? And a lot many wrong things, child abuses and a lot many other things are there through the social medias, and this leads to communal disharmony, social disharmony, disrespect for individuals, especially women, right? Abuses of children and all, right? So all these things have led to led to becoming social media as an internal security threat. Now, obviously, to regulate it, obviously, certain steps have been taken by the government by banning certain apps, right? Plus, even Juke, now they have come up with certain regulations. Now, social media platforms are being contacted, but still the problem lays at large because most of the stakeholders in the social media platforms are outsider or from the foreign nation, and not much government regulations are there. So a lot much is required to be done. Now this was what you need to write in this one. Now question number 8, what measures have been taken to increase border security? What else is required to be done, especially in context of Northeast? Now, for border security, a lot many measures have been taken, right? Now, first measure is on the international level. Now, Indian government is collaborating with the neighboring countries, and there are certain examples like we have Operation All Clear with Bhutan to eradicate, obviously, whom then obviously the eradicate obviously the Alpha and other terrorist groups who have been made their camp out there, right? So this is one of the things that is government is for border areas strengthening. It is going for international collaboration. Now, second step it has been taken now is now they have bordered the fence. There are different deployment of forces, right? For maritime security, we have coast guards and navies. We have border security forces. We have ITBP, right? For the China border, right? So BSF for Pakistan border, right? So these are the things that we are already doing. Apart from that, we have the deployment of CAPF in different border areas to have, as a second line of defense for us, right? So these measures have been taken. Now, the third is now smart fencing is there now on India-Pakistan border. The smart fencing, most of the places, except in some part of Jammu and Kashmir, most of the places the fencing had been completed. With Bangladesh, the smart fencing is still going on. We have also started fencing the Myanmar border, right? So this is also done. Now, apart from that, now we have installed, the government had installed there uh, modern surveillance equipments like drones. Then they have they're also using the thermal radiation cameras, thermal sensors, and other things are being employed on the border to check the infiltration as such, right? Now recently we have also done one thing, that we have on the post of Myanmar post, right, at More, right? So India Myanmar border. right, in Manipur, what we had done is basically we have uh, we have stopped the free movement of the citizen from here to there. So obviously this step was also taken. Now, apart from that, even the development of border areas, right, programs have been launched. The Vibrant Village program has been there, right, which has been launched by the government, right, for the development of border villages and all, right. So obviously there are programs for increasing nationalism within the border people. Apart from that, they are being given preference in terms of employment in armies and all. Right. So all these steps have been taken by government. Now, other part of question is, what else is required to be done, especially in the context of Northeast? Now, most of the point that we covered, except the maritime security and the Pakistan wala, most of the things are basically connected with this only. Now, what steps should be there? First of all, we have to, guard the borders, because the borders are porous in Northeast, either with Bangladesh or with Myanmar, right? Or it is with Bhutan, right? So this is one problem of Northeast, which is the porous border. And for this, a lot of mechanism is required. That means more advanced technique and surveillance is required to mitigate the problem, right? Because so this is one thing. Second thing is, we have to check the illegal migration that is occurring from Bangladesh in Northeast, right? Occurring from Bangladesh from occurring in Northeast from Bangladesh, right? And these should be checked. Apart from this, we have the problem of Rohingyas coming from Myanmar, which need to be looked into. And for this, obviously, the biometrics should be used for each one, right, of the people. Right now, tracing should be there. Now, each time counting should be there, how many people have increased, right? So this should be a regular thing. Now, if we say temporary settlement anywhere, now we should go and check their identity and everything that is required, right? So border security is very important for that. Now, obviously, we need to check the drug trafficking and other things, that is human trafficking that is occurring, right? And for that, a greater collaboration with other department is also required, because obviously there is a very big problem, a big challenge, that both the, like, two or three departments are, if they are involved, there is the passes of information, there is quite a delay in that. And then also not a considerable action is taken in this regard, right? So that's why it becomes a very important. So this is one of them. Now, these are the steps that we need to take. Now, next question we will be talking about, and that is question number uh, question number 16. What are the challenges of cyber security and what steps have been taken? Now, it's a long question. Those questions were just 150 marks. Now, cyber security is one of the most probable question that is going to surface this time, right? So do remember this. So cyber security is a very important one. Now, if we talk about cyber security is basically the protection from the cyber threats, that is that our computer or the computer or the any other system which is attached to the internet is exposed to. Now, when we talk about cyber security or the cyber threats, right? So the cyber threat can be classified into four types, right? The first one is cyber crime. Now, cyber crime is in the cyber crime is basically in a nature of the small or individual crimes that happen, like someone, cheats you with your money, right? Or something, someone is bullying you, right? Or something on individual scale. That is the crime that is committed on individual scale are termed into the threats or the challenge of challenge to cyber security. This is the first one is cyber crime. Second one, when we talk about is cyber espionage. Now the second challenge comes as cyber espionage. Now cyber espionage is basically spying, right? So many of the countries, many of the organizations, many of the hackers and all are using the certain worms. Now, certain things are there which are placed right in your as such as malware, virus, etc., which will keep on spying on you, and all your information is passed out. Now, this is cyber spyness. Now, third one is cyber warfare. Cyber warfare is obviously between two countries, right? When one country tries to completely destroys the cyber security of the other country, right? Or it want to, attack the sensitive file or sensitive areas of the other country, right? So it is always by the enemy country that this cyber warfare goes on, right? Now we have seen that in the case of India. Now, the organization, right, the Serum Development Department, which was building the coronavirus vaccine, right? So it was attacked by the Chinese firm, Chinese company. The Chinese government was basically after that, right? So this is one of the factor. Now, the fourth one is cyber terrorism, and cyber terrorism is basically it is having the terrorist activity through cyber things like seizing the defense files, or it is like recruiting, right? Recruiting of terrorists through the cyber one, right? So these are the cyber terrorism. These are the four basically, right? Types of crime or the types of challenges which is faced by our all the important sectors today in India, whether it is defense or whether any critical information, right? Which is very important for India's defense development and all. Now, those all things, right, are exposed to great challenge, and the methods that is being used for doing these things, right, these four things is basically through either malware or the ransomware, right, or phishing, right, or SEL injection, or the social engineering. So there are various methods which are used for this one. Now, this is why the cyber security becomes very, very important, right? Now, one of the other challenge with cyber security is the number of job people who are using the cyberspace is growing day by day. Now, after China, India has the largest population in the world, right? Which is using, the internet. Now, this is exposing India to more and more threats, because in India there is one thing, and it is called digital divide. Now, digital divide means obviously there is most of the people, like 70% of the people who are using internet don't know much about internet. They simply know to Google, and they will just type and they will get it. Right? Now, this makes the population greatly vulnerable to the cyber crimes and every other modes. Now, this is what the challenges with India's cyber security is. Now, we will come to the next part of the question. And the next question, what steps have been taken and what needs to be done? Now, two more things are there. Now, steps taken by government. First step. Now, Information Technology Act 2000 has been there, and every time we are coming up with amendment, with the latest amendment being in 2018, right? Now this gives the provisions for punishment and all the other safety measures that is there to be applied. So IT Act 2000, right, is a must that you need to write. Now this, as this IT Act is there, in this IT Act, now we have created an organization called CERT, Cyber Emergency Response Team. Now the second point should be the installation of CERT, Cyber Emergency Response Team, should be there, is there to solve any type of such attack, right? Now, third, we have Data Protection, Cyber Data Protection Act 2023, right? So now Cyber Data Protection Act 2023 is about the privacy of data and the protection of data rights have been given, right? Now, fourth step is basically the National Cyber Security Policy 2013. Now that has been enacted. Now, apart from that, another thing that has been done, now Cyber Swachhta Kendra has been established. Apart from that, the main nodal agency for cyber security is basically the protection of the Institute of Protection of Critical Information Center, right? So Critical Information Center Protection Institute, which is there in Delhi, right? The nodal agency is there to take care of all the things, right? So there are a lot of things that has been done. Now, obviously, there has been international collaboration that has been made by the Indian government with Japan, Israel, Singapore, and other countries, and America, right? That India has done, right, for foolproof cyber security system, right? Now, obviously, India is on its way to, have create is have it on its way to create a foolproof cybersecurity system. But obviously, one of the challenges, as the things are ever evolving and the coming of AI, this is also one of the challenges that you need to write. That is, with the coming of AI, right? Now, the security threats have increased a lot, right? So this is why, with the ever evolving challenges, the ever evolving policy is required, right? So this is one thing, that is one of the challenges that we face. Now, these are so many steps that digital literacy program that has been launched by the government, right, to mitigate the digital divide that is there in our country, right? So this is also important. Now, all these steps have been taken by government. Now we will come to the last part, what needs to be done. Now, first of all, now increase digital literacy, right? Now is increase digital literacy. Although government has launched certain program, like on mobile, we always hear about cyber security, where everywhere it is displayed about cyber frauds and all, right? But we also need to, give more and more advertisement, because these things are not reaching much. Only mobile wala is reaching, but the rest walas are not reaching. So that's why what we need is, right, these models should be spread to the villages also, the rural areas also, or it should spread to all nooks and corners. Now we should develop the cyber dome model, that is three-layer security, that is there in Israel, right? So we need to develop this thing, right? So we are still on the process, but it should be done fast. Third one is, there is not a proper cyber security act as such. We should have a proper cyber security act, and that should be done as early as possible. Although the provisions are there in IT Act, but still a lot many things haven't been covered yet, and that's why criminal, after committing the cyber fraud, easily get away, right? So we should do this. Now, next one is more and more international collaboration, right, is required. And obviously, the whole countries should form. Obviously, there is a 140 countries have come together on cyber security, right? But this also lacks, application. So it should be made more useful with, you know, a active collaboration there. Next one is private and public partnership is required for to look into cyber security, because government can't do everything for you. This is the answer. Next is Northeast is a hub of insurgency movement. In the light of the statement, mention the reason, areas, steps taken by the government and things to be done. Obviously, Northeast को अगर हम बात करें तो this is considered to be the hub of insurgency movement, and most of the insurgency movements are occurring here. Now, insurgency movement are the movement that is against the state or the nation, right? So insurgency movements have been there, right, in Northeast. And the areas like, if you talk about, we can see in Assam, in the case of Alpha, Bodoland and others. Now in NSCN in Nagaland, right? Then in Manipur we have a Kuki group and even the Meitei group going against the Indian nation as such, right? So these groups are there. Even in Arunachal Pradesh, the three districts, right, of Chamling, right, Tirap, and one more is there, right? So three districts are there which are influenced by this activities. So insurgency is a great problem, right, of the Northeast. Now, what's the reason for this one? Now, reasons are several reasons for this one. The first one is now the historical context. Now, historical context is obviously the British has always demarcated this line and they have always excluded these areas, right? Now, as these areas were least taken care of, right, as there was a sense of alienation among the people, right? And this is a well substantiated by the geographical chicken corridor, the small passage of 22 kilometers. So that also created an isolation from the Indian mainland. Apart from this, there is a difference of culture as well as the race is there, right? So this is one of the aspects that, you know, alienate the people from each other, right? Even the tribal policy, that especially the Nehru's tribal Panchashil policy of keeping the tribals aloof is also one of the major reason why the northeast people have not merged nicely with the, the mainland population. Now this is the sense of alienation is one of the reasons for the insurgency movement. Second reason is obviously the backwardness of the region. The economic backwardness is there because obviously no central government has ever taken much care about developing industries or developing the places as the tourist destination, right? These areas have never been the priority for any of the government till date. Now, the other thing is they have not given priority. There is no industrial policies for the Northeast as such, right, which have been implemented. Obviously, the policies are made and they remain in the paper, but no practical implementation is there. That's why only few industries are seen in Assam. Obviously, that's on mainland there also. We don't see much industrial development in any of the places. Fourth, the education. Education is hardly imparted, right? So we have some of the states like Mizoram who are doing very well, but on the other hand, we have our Arunachal Pradesh, which is just after Bihar in terms of literacy. So there is a wide gap that is persisting out there, and it is all due to the lack of effort out there. Now, poverty is rampant, right? Now, obviously, there are funds given for poverty removal and all, but all funds are being eaten up by the different officials and others, right? And it is not reaching to the required people. So that's why there is no change, much change in terms of the below poverty line population, and it is increasing day by day. Now, all these factors like alienation, underdevelopment, illiteracy, plus, you know, poverty, all these things leads to easier manipulation of the youth towards insurgency movement. Now, another aspect for it is international help by the countries like China and Pakistan, right? So this is also a big contributory factors, right? And now in the recent time, one more aspect is there, because the insurgent are taking this as an easier mode of earning money, right? So now these things have made are the reason for the growth of insurgency in the region. One more reason is difficult terrain makes it difficult for the security forces to control these insurgents. Plus the porous border help them to cross the border as well, right? So these are the reasons. Now, steps, areas we have already discussed, reason we have discussed, steps taken by the government. Now, steps taken by the government are a lot many steps have been taken, obviously. Now, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan for improvement in literacy. Now, obviously, checking the border areas, the free movement between the Myanmar and Nagaland, Manipur area has been barred now, right? So this is a welcome step. Fencing is going on so that the drug trafficking, due to proximity of Golden Triangle, the area between Laos, Thailand and Myanmar, it is the second largest opium growing region, and that's why Northeast has so much supply of drugs coming from the Myanmar border and from Bangladesh border, right? This is being checked on now. National Narcotic Bureau, right, is keeping an eye on these, and they are taking stern action to stop this. Even human trafficking and illegal crosser of the border are uh, being seen or detected through the use of drones and others, right? Plus, there are programs for development of the border areas there, like vibrant village programs is there. For poverty alleviation, Manrega and other programs has been there being implemented by the government. Now, obviously, we have Northeast Council now, which has been become a part of Ministry of Development of Northeast Area, M Donor, right? Which has been constituted with the sole motive of developing Northeast. Now there is cultural promotion by the government of the by the central government of Northeast culture is being promoted to rest of India. The Northeastern states, the students are being given scholarship to go and study in the outside. Even the outside peoples have been coming and they are working here in Northeast region, right? So these things are there, which has been as has been done by the government as such. Now, what is required is greater cultural cohesion and promotion from the government, right? Now, government should remove all those obstacles, right? So that the people interaction could increase with giving whole protection to, right? In everywhere in Northeast, every tribal or job mine, the people like this should be having the right on their land and forest and all, right? But the coming together, right, of the mainland people and the northeastern people should be promoted. For this, the soft power like the musical festivals, right, of northeastern state should be organized in Delhi as well and other places so that the people or the mainland people could know about how beautiful the culture of Northeast is. Right. So this is first. So cohesion is required. The proper cohesion is required. Second one is a check on corruption is required here, right? Because one of the major reason for the backwardness of the state is corruption, rampant corruption here, right? So that should be checked. And each bureaucrat and other ministers or anyone who are responsible for it should be strictly punished. Third thing that is more development uh, programs are not required, but such programs are required, which is the basic requirement of this area. Right now, you are launching Operation Blackboard. That doesn't mean Blackboard will be provided to the school, right? In place of the digital board, which is required at this point of time, right? So we can't go to that Baba Adam ka zamane ka, right? We can't go back to the ancient era for this one. So a practical planning is required. Plus, the whatever planning is done by Ministry of Donor, Ministry of Development or Northeast region, right? They are basically merely fund allocating body. They never supervise it nicely. So there is proper supervision of all the policies, whether it's implemented or not. Proper auditing of everything is very much required. Plus, now in the syllabus of Northeast, both there will should be a fusion of their great personality also, so that the northeastern people should always have the sense of pride in them, that even they have a great culture, as well as the Gandhi, Nehru, Tagore, whatever we are teaching of the mainland history as such, right? And even in the northeastern history, it need to be taught to the mainland history, right? There should be a chapter on Ahoms. There should be chapters on different tribes of Northeast, their beautiful culture and all, so that obviously the social cohesion, right, would be there. Now, obviously, these are the things, the strict action forces are there. APSPA should be removed as immediately as possible, because as it has been recommended by a lot many bodies, it is a draconian act which needs to be removed, right? So these are the things that need to be done, and these were the questions from internal security paper, third paper, test first, right? We'll see you again in the next test, test 2. I will be, discussing in the next lecture, in the next video. Thank you guys. Thank you.